NFL training camps are open, meaning we're that much closer to fantasy football drafts. We get you primed for the action with our 4 breakouts for the 2024 season tonight on the IBT podcast. Coming right at you.
I've been going dummy, out of bounds, putting on a clinic. Stick around, carrots in my hardware. KC, caught him in the crosshair. Look at me, been the guy calling Mr. MVP. Keep your ass on the bench by my MPC. Earn my stripes like I fix this league. Your dog's on the turf, my dog's in the street. You can find me somewhere in between. Never a dull moment like a movie scene. About to do the ops like I did this beat. Let them keep talking RG3. Coming to you live. This is the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast.
All right. It is Tuesday, July 16th, 2024. This is the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast, your place for both a refreshing and feel-good take on fantasy football and NFL gambling advice. We're in the dog days of summer. Players are reporting to camp. And it's a great time to be alive and a great time to talk breakouts, players who can change the composition and the complexion of your team this season. My name is Seth Woolcock. I'm still recovering from a busy weekend at the track, but I love this time of year. Finally locked in my home draft date. Aside from a couple people, there have been a couple people kind of being party poopers, Debbie Downers about it. A couple people might have to zoom in, but either way, I'm excited for it. Also, love training camp. I used to spend a lot of time in the Pittsburgh area out there at Latrobe at Steelers camp. So it's a really special time, and I'm excited to dive into the action tonight. I am joined by our fantasy football and entertainment betting stooge over here at IBT, Boston's boy, Steve Lawson, back again. Thanks for being here, Steve. Eric had to take another vacation, so I'm thankful you're filling in for him.
Yeah, you know what? I'm jealous, man. I wish I could take as many vacations as Eric has been taking lately, but, someone's got to hold down the fort.
Someone's got to hold down the fort. Someone's got to get the work done. That's Steve tonight. We appreciate you, man. We're also joined by a guy who lives right about 45 minutes away from Latrobe. Kyle, you stopping out to Steelers training camp this summer? Enjoy a couple icy lights with the boys of summer.
Oh, you know it, brother. I'm going to be pounding some icy pounders and chucking eggs at any of the cars trying to get in that parking lot. No one's seeing the practice but me.
All right. Playing a little keep away there, Kyle. We appreciate it, man. Hot as fuck out there for you in Pittsburgh today as well.
Oh, you know it, brother. 95, humid.
Yeah.
Just like the rest of the week. It's beautiful.
I saw it hit triple digits today for the first time this year. Steve, have you hit the hundreds yet?
Real Feel has, but I don't think we've actually hit like 98.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Also, I want to welcome in the IBT family. We hit 1.1K subscribers over the weekend as we were covering the race in Pocono. Fighting for my life. Barely got out of there alive. You can check out the Twitter thread I put out, but terrible experience at a resort we stayed at. It was wild. It was extreme. But check out that Twitter thread for more information on that. I don't want to go into it, but Steve, I barely got out of my life, man.
You know what? I've heard the story, and I appreciate the struggle you went on. Barely getting out of there with your life feels dramatic, but you know what? Like, we're gonna let you have it. We're gonna let you have it because you're my boss. So we're just gonna let that happen.
I appreciate it. I also appreciate Albert riding with us in the chat saying good evening, IBT. Albert is always very prompt and ready to go. We appreciate him here. And Charles coming over. Charles is one of our good friends and very loyal listeners to the Back Road on Thursday night. So glad to see he's getting ready for fantasy football and NFL betting season as well. Thanks for being here, Chuck. We appreciate it, buddy. And I did want to let everyone know we just sold our 100th ticket to draft night out today. That means we'll be doing a Taysom Hill signed jersey giveaway here in just a couple of weeks when Eric gets back. He has the jersey, so I want to have the jersey on screen when we do it. But draft night out, if you haven't heard of it, it is our live draft party in Canton, Ohio. It's part of the Fantasy Football Expo. The Brew Kettle, it's a 2-story bar overlooking the Hall of Fame Stadium field. It's going to be bumping. We're going to have 12, 15 live drafts going on. I'm very, very excited for it. They got great alcohol there of all different kinds and honestly some really great food. Probably some of the best food I've ever had. So I'm excited for it. Steve, I know you're making your first trip out to Canton. You're going to be hanging out with us at the IBT house and experience draft night out as well. Are you ready for it?
You know what? I hope I am. I've heard some wild stories that have come out of the expo in recent years, and I'm making my first appearance, so I'm really excited.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, there is a lot of work, little sleep, but also a lot of play. So I'm excited to have you there here this upcoming year, man. And let's go ahead, dude. Let's get into the breakouts. I'm excited to bring back a segment we haven't thrown out here in a couple months, a little headline hijinks for the good folks. All right. So we're talking breakouts, players that you should be targeting in your drafts who could change the complexion of your team here in 2024. People that we think by the end of the season or by some point, they're going to be difference makers and be in your lineup, maybe get you some trade value back as well. So, Steve, I want to start with you, man. Who is your favorite breakout for 2024? Who do the people need to be circling on those cheat sheets?
Well, the person you need to be circling on your cheat sheet is your key on to victory, Keon Coleman, for the Buffalo Bills. So I've been on our podcast and I've screamed from the rooftops, basically, that Keon Coleman's my guy. And I frequently get hit with the I hate Drake London. So why do I like Keon Coleman? Let me explain exactly why I like Keon Coleman way more than Drake London. Because let's look at FSU's two most important games of the season this year. It was against Clemson. It was against LSU. In Clemson, 5 catches, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns. Against LSU, 9 catches, 122 yards, 3 touchdowns. Okay, this man played in 11 games, had 11 touchdowns. This man averaged 12 yards per punt return. This man was a punt returner. Okay, for everyone who's like, oh, he's not fast, I will challenge you on that. Sure, his 40 time wasn't great, but do you know he was the fastest man in the gauntlet? Where you run across the field and catch all those balls, he was the fastest wide receiver to do it.
Okay, interesting.
Fastest. Number 3 in the NCAA, in the FBS, in punt return yardage was Keon Coleman. And for the people who want to knock his 40 time, I'll give it to you. He did not run fast. That's fine. You know who else ran 40-yard dashes as fast or actually slower than Keon Coleman? Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, Jarvis Landry, guys who are well known for getting open in the NFL and being successful wide receivers. And you have now removed Stephon Diggs from that offense. Gabe Davis is removed from that offense. And Keon Coleman is there. This man puts up numbers. He averaged 13.2 yards per reception. He had 11 touchdowns. This guy is a producer, and when it mattered, he showed up. Those 2 games were the most important games. He went for over 200 yards and 5 touchdowns with 14 catches. When they needed a play, it was Keon Coleman.
It's interesting. I do love players who rise to the occasion against top competition. You've been screaming his name really like I would say almost back like towards the Senior Bowl. You were really early on Keon Coleman, even before the great opportunity was going to be there with the Bills. He's going to play the X receiver right away. So he's arguably playing the most important position in that offense for fantasy points outside of the quarterback. And, you know, I think the one thing I will say about Coleman that I did like when putting the tape in on him is he's a great run blocker. So I think he's going to be out there when it matters. He's a big body wide receiver. The catch radius is great. I've always been a bit worried about sometimes these like lesser athletic guys, like the Treylon Burks of the world, who sometimes like they're just a big body guy, but can't really do a ton. And that's where I've kind of put Keon Coleman. But I will say, Steve, you're starting to bring me around a little bit, especially hearing about what he did in multiple phases of the game in big games last season. So I like the call there. And right now he's going like right around that 8th round or so on ESPN ADP. Are you comfortable with that? Where would you be taking him earlier?
I'm happy taking him in the 6th right now. I mean, you're not going to stumble into a guy in the 8th round who is the far and away starting wide receiver on his team. I mean, who else is going to do that with?
What should be an elite offense too.
Right. I mean, even if it's not, just based on like who else is going to catch the ball, it's going to be him and Kincaid. Really is it. And then James Cook will factor in a little bit. But
Shakir too.
Don't see. That's where I thought everyone was going to go with that. Don't bother me with that. Don't bother me with Khalil Shakir, and don't bother me with Curtis Samuel either.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
don't
worried.
want him.
I'm not worried about Curtis as much, but if I had to guess, like if you had to say like put your money on it right now, I'm gonna guess Kincaid leads the team in targets, but I would say that Coleman and or Shakir will be very close to next, but I still think they both see well over 100 targets, and I think if you can get to 100 targets when you're a guy like Keon Coleman, who is a big play threat and a red zone threat, that's enough. That's enough that could give you wide receiver 2 upside. So I like the call there from Steve. I'm going to shift here. I'm going to go to the running back position. And I will say we did not mean to pick all rookies for this, and it's kind of just how this shook out. But my headline here is Wake and Blake Corum. Yes, I'm going with the Michigan man here. And because I am not in the business of doubting Sean McVay's talent evaluation and scheme fit. This is the guy who gave us Puka Nacua after all last season. It's also Blake Corum, who in one of the toughest conferences in college football, especially on the defensive side of the ball, the Big Ten, Corum had 28 touchdowns last year and totaled nearly 3,000 combined yards the past 2 seasons. Plus, he's coming from a great coach like Jim Harbaugh, who, if Jim Harbaugh has taught us anything, like he's going to produce really good NFL caliber players who are well coached and can get on the field early. I think Sean McVay kind of knows, like, hey, I can't give Kyren Williams 23 carries per game. Kyron's been banged up this offseason. He's been banged up every season he's played so far. Right now, Blake Corum going RB36. That's the 10th, 11th round turn on ESPN. And I think he has way more upside with all the guys. He's right around that late RB30, early RB40 mix. So Blake Corum is a guy I'm circling. I am fading Kyren Williams at the same time. But I wouldn't mind having both if Kyron's ADP fell a little bit. But 100% going in on Blake Corum this year. Steve, your thoughts on the Michigan man?
I love it. I love that that's your choice, because here's the thing about Sean McVay that I have learned over the years of being burned by Sean McVay is he doesn't like injuries. You get hurt for Sean McVay, that's it. That could just spell the end of you. Look at Cam Akers. I mean, Cam Akers did nothing wrong other than he wasn't available to Sean McVay, and he moves on. He moves on quick. He did Todd Gurley dirty, right? Like this man single-handedly gave him like everything he had, right? And
Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, same thing.
Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, Jared Goff, whoever it was, if you were not 100% available to him, you were not welcome. And that's just the way it goes. So, I mean, even Jalen Ramsey got shown the door. It just doesn't matter. So I really like Blake Corum. I mean, we watched him at Michigan just literally carry that team, right?
He's slippery.
He's slippery. He threw them on his back. He's strong. He's got a good base. He's big enough to handle like the workload. I really like Blake Corum. I was shocked at how far he fell in the draft.
Yeah, I was too, and I was thinking Chargers the whole entire time.
I thought for sure, yeah,
it didn't come to fruition, but I'm really excited to see Blake Corum play this year, man. And for where you're getting him, like I think he just has a ton of upside. And if there's a point, like if Kyren Williams does unfortunately go down with an injury, Blake Corum is arguably a borderline RB1. So keep that in mind, folks. A ton of upside here late in the draft for Blake Corum. Chuck in the chat saying, I haven't watched NFL for several years now. I used to be in a fantasy football league, won a few years ago. We never did a live draft, though. I'm definitely looking forward to making some bets in a different sport. Hey, yeah, Chuck, it's always fun when you have NASCAR and NFL going at the same time. It kind of helps ease the pain, like last week when we were that close on our Denny Hamlin outright. So, love having both sports in action here. And we even have PGA ripping right now. We also had our Open episode, the final major of the year, the 19th hole right before this show on the channel. So make sure you guys are going out and checking out Bo and Connor and all the great work they're doing in the PGA, DFS, and betting scene as well. Steve, I'm going to throw it back to you, my man. Who else are you targeting? Who else is someone that you're considering a potential breakout here in the year 2024?
Yeah, that's again, we didn't mean to go all rookies, but you know what? It's Malik Nabers, and he's nabbing the spotlight. And honestly, he should be. And frankly, this is going to be a hot take, but you know what? I'm going to bring those anyway. He was my wide receiver 1 in this class, and that's just where I was at with him. I thought he should have gone ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr. I thought he was the better prospect. Look at what he's done. Marvin Harrison Jr., for as talented as he is, he disappeared. There were times he would just vanish. Malik Nabers never vanished. So just to go into it, he had 89 catches. He had 1,500 plus yards, 14 touchdowns, averaged 17 and a half yards per catch. 9 out of 13 games this season, he had over 100 yards, and he was the number one prospect rank. Now he ran a 4.47 40, so he wasn't the most blazingly quick person. But
Certainly.
what he is he's essentially a running back with the ball in his hands. He's so good after the catch that he's one of those guys, and this is what I look at for a wide receiver, right? Is you're in two camps for me. You're in the Keon Coleman camp where you're just big, strong. You're going to get yourself open to make those possession catches like an Anquan Bolden.
Sure.
Or you're going to be a guy who can take a slant to the house like OBJ did back in the day, right? Like every slant route was
like a DK,
oh, this could do it, right? Now, that's Malik Nabers for you. He is going right now in about the third round, and that feels good. Maybe early if Daniel Jones doesn't take a step. But I think overall, he's going to be a guy that's going to get a lot of catches at the line of scrimmage, too. I think in any sort of PPR format, I think he'll be the rookie. If any rookie's going to do it, he'll break the 100-catch mark this year and really deliver on that yards after catch kind of production.
The one thing I like about Nabers, and I will say he's very decisive right now with that ADP, especially over ESPN, where it's higher than places like Underdog and some of the other apps like Sleeper as well. The one thing I like about him though is like he's kind of the only show in town, right? Like I've always been a big Darius Slayton guy. He'll probably be the flanker, play that Z position in the offense for the Giants. However, Malik Nabers is on such a different tier than everyone they have, including Wan'Dale Robinson in that wide receiver core. They just lost Darren Waller. He's retiring. So they got the rookie Theo Johnson. We are, baby. And Daniel Bellinger there. But aside from that, it's like Devin Singletary in the backfield. They don't have a Saquon anymore. So like this is more of a volume play, I think. Like for
absolutely,
like I think that's the thing. Like there's a world where Malik Nabers gets 160 targets this year, and it's not out of the range of possibility. I think the only question I have for you, Steve, is are you willing to invest in what's likely going to be a bottom 7 to 8 offense in the third round? That's what scares me off Malik Nabers, because I'm like, well, I'd rather at that price tag like potentially draft someone like a Debo or a DK Metcalf even, or a DJ Moore, because I'm expecting those offenses to be better. Do you think that's a fool's errand by me, or are you comfortable and believe in Brian Daboll in the system?
So I think it's actually kind of great that you mentioned Deebo Samuel, because I was going to bring him up. I actually see Malik Nabers playing a Deebo Samuel kind of role. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw him catch, maybe not as a pure running back, but get a lot of jet sweeps, a lot of handoffs, a lot of ways. And Daboll is a great offensive coordinator. Let's not forget, last year was kind of a strange year for the Giants.
I mean, their offensive line was dog shit from the jump.
It was decimated. Daniel Jones got hurt. Everyone got hurt. They had
Tommy DeVito.
They had Tommy DeVito in there. Like, just absolute like disaster season, right? But the year before, that offense actually looked competent, which was very strange.
Yeah, it was.
It landed Daniel Jones a big deal. Like, it was a whole thing. So I think we could see Malik Nabers really get a lot of manufactured touches, because you do not draft someone that early where they are the only show in town. You have your star tight end retire. You get rid of Saquon Barkley. And Daniel Jones, this is it for him, right? He's either going to perform or he's going to get cut.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I'm Daniel Jones, I'm not fucking throwing a Darius Slayton with my job on the line. Like, get the fuck out of here with that. I'm throwing to Malik Nabers. I will throw it to him 200 times a season if I have to.
And it's interesting, too, because he's never had a target other than Saquon Barkley that is anything close to Malik Nabers' talent. So I think you're honestly, listen, I'll be honest, Steve, you came with your homework done. You came with some propaganda that I have no Malik Nabers rostership right now. I even passed on him in a dynasty league and ended up trading out of that pick. I got a hell of a deal, so I kind of had to. But at the same time, I have no Nabers on any teams right now, and you're kind of making me regret that a little bit. So good call from you for potentially going for the volume play and trusting the talent there and Malik Nabers and the system, and maybe a little bounce back from Danny Dimes as well. I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to
I
my
think good.
I'm gonna go to my final breakout of the night. And it's I got 99 problems and Ricky Pearsall ain't one. And there's two parts to this analysis here, Steve. And the first is that Brandon Aiyuk requested a trade today. I don't think he necessarily will get traded. John Lynch seems like, by all reports, super reluctant to trade him. However, we know there's like 31 other teams that are going to be calling on Brandon Aiyuk because he's that type of guy. And regardless, if he gets traded or not, I think there will be an opportunity for Ricky Pearsall. The 49ers were ranked dead last in passing attempts last season. I think this is because of the game script. They were second to best in game script, meaning they are winning a ton of games. And let's look at their schedule a little bit this year as well. Their division got better. So Seattle, they're going to have a real offense now with Ryan Grubb pulling the trigger. Another year for JSN, Zach Charbonnet to help give a little support there. Sean McVay gets another year to work with both Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua in that offense. Kyler's back healthy for the Cardinals. And here are the outside of division games they have on their schedule. The Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Bucks, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Lions. Like, those are arguably like almost the six best offenses outside of the 49ers. Maybe you could throw the Eagles in there as well, who they're not playing. But those are some really high-powered offenses. So I think they're going to have to play maybe not a ton of catch-up, but high-scoring games this season. Brock Purdy also looking fucking yoked right now. Second full year as a starter. Wide receiver 68 right now for him. I think he just has way more upside than anyone around him. And how do you feel about Ricky Pearsall as a prospect here? Because I think he's a very decisive one. I don't think people were expecting him to go in the first round, maybe early day 2. But I think he fits Kyle Shanahan's scheme very well as a route technician, great after the catch type of guy. Your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, so I it's hard for me to show love to a Florida Gator, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Yeah, I think he's talented. I don't think he's a first round talent at all. But like I think he'll do here's the reality of it, right? He's in Kyle Shanahan's offense. So no matter who you are,
Yeah.
like you can produce in that offense. It's the best system in the NFL. It's McVay and Shanahan. Those are the two best systems to like succeed as a skill player. And before the Kansas City Chiefs fans come for me, okay, like I'm just going to stop it right here. Andy Reid is the best for quarterbacks, not the best for wide receivers.
Yeah, sure.
Kyle Shanahan delivers on his wide receivers. If they're not catching the ball, they're running the ball. If they're not running the ball, they're catching the ball. It doesn't matter. And I personally do think Brandon Aiyuk will be traded. I think this whole like, oh no, by John Lynch is just driving up the price, right? Like you're saying,
Yeah,
don't want to trade him.
Yeah.
And it's just like, give me a first round pick. That's what John Lynch wants. And I see a team like the Chargers making that move. Because they need a wide receiver, right? Like they're kind of like, all right, we want to make a run at this. You don't go and hire Jim Harbaugh for a rebuild.
Yeah.
That's just not what you do. So I could see it happening. And Ricky Pearsall will be the direct beneficiary of that.
The interesting thing about Ricky is he's 6'1", 189, ran a really good 40-yard dash, 4.41 seconds. So he has the tools. He has the bag of tricks as well. The only thing that worries me a little bit is that like if Aiyuk isn't traded and everyone stays healthy all season long, it might be tough to truly break out as a third wide receiver. Like we've seen it happen, like Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods a couple years ago with McVay. We've also seen in some other offenses as well. However, Kittle's had some injury history. McCaffrey's had some injury history. Like if both those players stay healthy and Aiyuk and Debo stay healthy all year, it's going to be hard for him to really, I would say, break more than 60, 70 targets. But I think if one of those guys go down, which there's a good possibility between all three of those guys and Debo included in that conversation as well. And I think this is just a championship caliber team, and they drafted this guy for a reason. Jawan Jennings is solid, but they were going to Jawan Jennings way more than they needed to in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. And I think it kind of ultimately hurt them at the end. Like Jawan was making some fucking crazy catches that he was making, and everyone's like was holding their breath. You know, they're like, holy shit, is Jawan Jennings going to catch this? Like, cause he's just kind of a guy, you know what I mean? Now they put someone in there who's talented, and I'm curious to see what happens. And 13th fucking round, are you serious? And he did just show up on the the injury report that he was injured away from the practice facility. So he's probably going to get pushed down more. He couldn't miss the first week or two of training camp. So that could even be a 14th round ADP soon. And I just think there's way more upside, Steve, compared to everyone else around him.
I mean, yeah, in the 14th round. I mean, what are you drafting? Kickers and defenses? I mean, that's that's the end of your draft. So yeah, why not? Right? Like, if you have everything else filled out and you're like, who am I going to take a shot on? I mean, who else is going around there? Rashad Bateman. I mean, like I'd rather Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, that's like legitly like the tier right there. Rashad Bateman, Demario Douglas. If you believe in Quentin Johnston and want to get back invested with him, Darnell Mooney, Gabe Davis, Mike Williams, like Jerry Jeudy. It's a bunch of fucking busts. You know what I mean? A bunch of guys who haven't lived up to the name yet.
Bums. Like, that's what it is. It's Jags. Like, that's the Jag section right there. Like, it's not it.
I'm
with you.
Yeah, I just don't see why you would pass on Ricky Pearsall. Pair him with a Brock Purdy or something. I think you'll be fucking real happy, guys. And let's not forget, man, Brock Purdy. This is only gonna be his second year as a starter, like full time. He got thrown in his rookie year.
That's not a selling point. Brock Purdy will never be a selling point. Brock Purdy's not a quarterback.
Stop. All right, that's a conversation for another day. I love me some Brock Purdy. Chuck here in the chat saying, Seth, being from PA, which team do you root for? The Eagles? Nah, dude. I live in Eastern PA now. I'm originally from Western PA, so I rolled with the black and gold. Went to a lot of Steelers games as a kid. I was very fortunate. My uncle had season tickets, so got to see some big games like the AFC Championship in 2008 and some other playoff games. So yeah, I'll always be a Steelers fan, man. I don't root against the Eagles necessarily, but you know, I'm not pulling for, especially now that they don't have Jason Kelce. He was the guy I really fucked with on that team. Steve, who's your favorite team? Are you a Patriots guy, I imagine, being up in the Boston area?
I'm a fan of my fantasy team, and that's all I care about. I don't root for a team in the NFL.
Okay.
I strictly root for my fantasy team, and then I have players I like, so I usually root for them.
Okay. I feel like that's a lot of people, man. I feel like that's kind of the age of the NFL, and I'm definitely with you there. Like a lot of times, I mean, it's been tough to be a Steelers fan in the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years at this point, not winning a playoff game since like 2016. So I'm with you there. I almost root for, like, I love the Steelers and I try to get to a game each year, and I'm still rooting for them each and every Sunday, but I'm definitely rooting for my team just as hard, if not more. So I'm with you there. Great question, Chuck. Let us know who your favorite team is. Chuck, I think you're from Georgia, so I imagine you are an Atlanta Falcons fan. Kyle, you're from Pittsburgh, yet you're a Seattle Seahawks. Well, you live in Pittsburgh now, but you're a Seattle Seahawks and Packers fan, man. If you had to pick one of the two, what would you say your favorite team is?
Oh, I've been a Packers fan a lot longer than Seahawks.
Okay.
Yeah, family Packers fans, but geography linked me to the Seahawks. I'm going with the Packers.
Okay. All right. You need to come around on the Lurs, man. Come on. Let's get there.
Can we talk about how, like, why are you stuck rooting for the team you live near? Like, that's not very fair. I didn't ask to be born here. Like, what if I don't like the Patriots? Like, I happen to love Tom Brady. Like, that's fine. But, like, what if I did want to be, like, a, like, I grew up a Packer fan, actually, because this is shameful to say now, but I was a huge Brett Favre fan.
Oh,
so, like,
wow. You're piece of shit. Real piece of shit.
Yeah, like my hero fell in front of me, which is just terrible. But yeah, like I hate that. Like, oh, you were born in this geographical location.
Yeah.
Now you have to root for this exclusive team. And God forbid you're from Atlanta. Like, what a
Chuck
fucking
here.
existence that is.
Yeah, he's saying here in the chat that he grew up watching Tom Brady at Michigan and followed the Pats every year. Yeah, probably much more fun than being a Falcons fan, man. Kush saying he's a Cowboys fan. Kyle, can I get you to a game this year? Do I have to buy the ticket? Do I have to buy the beers? Like, what do I have to do to get you to a game this year, my friend?
I mean, shit, you bring beer, I'll go wherever you want me to, Seth.
I was literally about to say, like, if you buy a ticket, I'll fly out to Pittsburgh for a game. I'll be in black and gold. I'll paint my face.
Okay. All right. I'll keep that in mind. A ticket for Steve, some beer for Kyle. We might be able to get some.
It's a write-off, right? Just say it's a business expense.
There you go. A little business meeting happening on the 50 with a couple cold bush lights there. I like it. I like it a lot. That's our breakouts for tonight, guys. We're going to go ahead and round out the show here with a little bit of good news. Speaking of Pittsburgh, if you guys are watching on YouTube, that was that was a remake of Mac Miller's "Good News" song. We have a couple clips of Pittsburgh in there as well. So yeah, love us some Berg here. This is good news. This is our feel good headline of something happening in the sports or pop culture world. Steve, I usually throw it to my co-host, to my guest, but I can't keep the excitement anymore, man. I gotta get this out. I gotta get it off the chest. NCAA 25, it's here, folks. Let's go. 10 years later, it's back. One of the games of all time, college football, NCAA 2025. It has been released. If you got early access, I didn't. I'm a cheapskate, so I also can't play during the week that much. So I'll get it on Friday, like the rest of the world here. But I don't know about you, Steve, but my friends and I grew up making the mistake of playing way more Madden than NCAA. But every time I had played NCAA as a kid, it was so much fucking fun. And like now is the time for me to make up for those past mistakes. Like Madden's been trashed for really like the last 4 or 5 years. I've tried to get into it almost every year. And I'm like, after a while, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of lame. But I feel like NCAA really takes it up. Just the gameplay's always been really fun and a little bit different. Now we got numbers on the back of jerseys. Kirk Herbstreit, Reese Davis, and the boys on the call. We got that wear and tear feature, which actually makes it kind of realistic that your players are going to get tired throughout the game and banged up. And Steve, I know you're really big into the stock market. I would advise people to invest in EA here because I think this game's going to be a smashing success, and let the good times roll, man.
Yeah, you know what? This game is it's probably like, it won't win game of the year because that's really reserved for like artsy, like big open world RPGs. But let's be real, this is the biggest video game, maybe of the decade. It's going to be this or Grand Theft Auto 6. That is the biggest game of the decade, and it's not going to be particularly close. This game, I know people who are buying systems.
That was me. I literally upgraded.
And you are not the only one. My little brother called me today. I'm at work, blew my phone up. Now, I work in the emergency room, right? And he's like, you need to pick up the phone right now. And made me pick. He's like, do you have an extra PS5 or do I need to go buy one? I'm like, first off, who has an extra PS5 like just lying around?
Yeah, right.
But he's like, I need NCAA. And he went and bought a PS5 today.
Yep.
Like,
get on Facebook Marketplace. I got mine for like $175 or something.
Like, first off, like Seth, you need to add me on PlayStation so we can play.
Oh, do you have a PlayStation 5 as well?
I'm a PlayStation guy, okay? I've been a PlayStation guy since the PS2.
This is my first PlayStation. I've always been an Xbox kid, so I'm converting here.
That was another problem you had growing up. Like, that's probably why people beat you up. But like, I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah, NCAA is the biggest game. It's gonna be the biggest game of the decade. This is a phenomenon. This is beyond crazy.
Yeah.
We've been waiting 10 years for this game. Like, fellas, ladies, when your significant other is playing this game, like, you're single.
Yeah.
You're single for this week. You're single for the rest of this month. Go do something else. If you don't play this game, go touch grass. Like,
I'm gonna try to get Katie to play on my team with me. Maybe be the running back or something, and I'll
whoever your person is, they need to be hydrated. Make sure they have drinks and food, and make sure they don't forget to sleep because it's gonna be ugly.
That's
we're gonna see a lot of people become single real quick this month.
Maybe we can do like some type of IBT online dynasty or something. Maybe we can try to get some of the IBT family members who play.
Bro, I'm in.
Okay, all right. I call Penn State. That's all I need. I need a little Nick Singleton action.
No one's trying to get that gimmicky ass school. You got it.
Oh yeah. All right, take Boston College or something, Steve.
I'm gonna take Florida State where I went to school.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, why don't you play? Why don't we all play as our schools? You can play as
IUP, I don't think it.
Football team.
Kyle, do you think we did? We were actually 3-time runner-up in Division II championship, right, Kyle?
Yeah, IUP football is nothing to laugh at.
At IUP, football was actually just hacky sack.
Hey man, we had some fucking guys out there. Kyle, would you fire them up in NCAA? Would that be your squad?
Oh yeah, I'd do that or Pitt now.
Okay.
I'm telling you though, an IBT squad, we should go for it. Everyone gets their big school.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Have Penn State.
Fuck yeah, let's go, baby. Charles saying I preferred NFL Blitz, and he added
Loved NFL Blitz.
what was NFL? I don't know if I played.
That's the one where you could like light on fire and you could like pass interfere, like the ball would go up and just take out the wide receiver. It was
style. Yeah, I played NFL Street, which I think was
that
similar.
was a good one too.
NFL Street was my fucking jam. I love playing on the beach and shit. Yeah, that shit was.
Yeah, I did NBA Street a lot. Lots of NBA Street.
Yeah. Yes, I remember playing a lot of NBA Street too. You'd be like MJ and early Kobe and shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it.
Bonafide, loved it.
Frankie Knuckles saying NFL Blitz was lit.
Lit.
I'm gonna have to get on. Kyle, have you played NFL Blitz? I don't think I've been on this train yet.
No, I was thinking of NFL Street as well.
Okay.
Which was my shit.
Okay.
NFL Street fucks.
Yeah, I agree, man. I fucking loved blowing the fuck. Just, you could blow
Street
people
was
up.
the one where like you'd hit someone and like they'd cut to like the skeleton, right? It'd be like their spine like snapping in half.
Yeah.
Like you up to 3 plays.
Could like jump off walls and shit. Yeah, you were doing some crazy shit, man. I remember Brian Westbrook was a fucking menace in that game. Him and Mike Vick could not be stopped. Frankie also saying NBA Jam. Yeah, I never played NBA Jam a lot too. Like my one buddy had one thing in his garage that when he first started drinking in high school, we'd go in there and just have a couple beers and we'd just play the fuck out of NBA Jam, like one of the arcade ones. That was quite fun. Charles saying he would take UGA, University of Georgia, and NCAA 25. Apparently, Jalen Milroe is a fucking cheat code, Steve. That's what I've been hearing around the internet right now, is that Alabama is actually the team you want to play because Jalen Milroe can fucking sling it and run around a little bit.
I will never play as Bama. You'll never catch it happening.
Okay, all right. Jeez, a little Bama shade, a little Lurs shade on this program. Steve, let's throw it over to you, man. What's the feel good headline for you here this week, the week of July 15th?
For me, like my feel good headline, and like this is getting mixed reviews, but it looks like Heartstopper's taking over the MCU, and like
what is Heartstopper? Tell me that.
Heartstopper is my queer little show that's like the most adorable little love story. It's just two boys who fell in love, and it's like so sweet. But as Joe Locke in it, who's starring in Agatha All Along, and then it also stars Kit Connor, who is in talks to become Hulkling, which is the Hulk's child, and they are actually like the MCU's like first real like queer couple, like gay couple, in the comics, and so it's a really cool thing. It's good, like me to see for the representation of it. But it's also like I love Heartstopper. That's my favorite. That's my favorite like feel good show. And like they're the two leads, so just bring them over. I'm like, like we're winning. Like I just love when the gays win. So
they're not playing their same characters from that show. They're playing like different characters. MCU, correct?
Yeah, it's just the two stars are coming into the MCU, and I think that's so sick.
Dude, we need representation like that across the board in cinema, across the board in entertainment. So super excited for you, man, and your entire community over there, dude. I think that'll be awesome. And hey, dude, the more Marvel content we can get, the better. I don't keep up with it like I should. Kyle, I know at one point you were super into the MCU, and like we just need to catch up because there's so much shit now, right? Like with all the fucking shows and shit, Kyle.
Yeah, almost too many, some would say.
Yeah.
I have to check if I still have a Disney Plus subscription too, if I wanna really get caught up.
Yeah,
I'm a diehard. I'll be there like the day it drops. Like I'm ready. Like Agatha was such a cool character from WandaVision to bring Catherine Hahn into it, and it's Catherine Hahn, Aubrey Plaza, Joe Locke, Patti LaBelle, like the Broadway legend herself, the diva. Like it's huge. This is just gonna be like the campiest, most amazing show. I'm so hyped for it.
Are there any other movies coming out for the MCU this year that we should be on the lookout, Steve, as we're kind of rounding out the show with this combo?
Well, yeah, like this month we have Deadpool and Wolverine. And
that's right. Okay. Yeah, we talked about that last week. Yeah.
Yeah, so for everybody who's like sitting there wondering like, oh man, is the MCU dead? I can assure you it's not, because it's about to have $1 billion hit. So for all of you out there, anyone who invests in the stock market, like seriously, Disney's going to have a fucking run here. But like, I am so excited for Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm so excited for Agatha All Along. I think this is just going to be such a good stretch, and it's been a few years in the making. Disney went through a regime change back to the old regime, who's decided to slow down production of Marvel content, and that's really it's just gonna increase the quality so much. I'm so excited.
Cool. Fuck yeah, man. I appreciate that. We got disbanded Brotherhood in the chat. What's up, dude? Good to see you. We appreciate you as always, man, stopping in. Charles saying that's love. Frankie saying guys should peep Forbidden Knowledge Network. Yeah, wasn't familiar with that before, but just brought that up here. Yeah, okay, that looks kind of cool. Yeah, it's got a little different stuff going on over there. I think that's some type of different TV network / channel. Looks kind of cool. Available on some different platforms like iPhone, Android, Roku. So, okay. All right. I like that. We appreciate the entertainment takes from everyone tonight as well. Yeah, Frankie saying new Gladiator show coming out later this month called Those About to Die. Yeah, I heard about this. I heard about is that different from the new Gladiator movie?
That's a new Gladiator movie. Gladiator 2 is also coming out.
Is that different than what Frankie's talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different.
Okay. Yeah, I heard I was editing the Fantasy Pros podcast earlier today, and I heard that they were talking about Gladiator and the new movie, and pretty excited about that.
I mean, it's got Denzel in it. That's all you have to say. Like, say
right,
Denzel's in the movie and I'm showing up. It could be him reading the phone book for all I care. Like, and I'm showing up for that movie.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go see Long Legs this week. I'm excited about that. So all my horror lovers, that's where I'll be. So
fuck yeah, awesome,
so
awesome, love it, man. Love all the conversation tonight, guys. Easiest way to support us here at the channel, whether you're into fantasy football, entertainment, NFL betting, NASCAR DFS, PGA betting, and DFS advice, is to subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. Check out the website as well. We just spent the whole weekend up at the racetrack, so we got a ton of NASCAR content on the channel. But Steve, you and your entertainment guys over there and gals are putting in the work right now as well.
The team's killing it. I'm like, to just have the team that I have around me is just absolutely amazing. So go check it out. Rachel just put up her Reese Witherspoon article a little while ago. Stefania Bell retweeted it and was like all hyped about it.
Yeah,
like,
that was fucking sweet. Yeah.
Like let's talk about that for a second, right? Like, I mean, Stefania Bell's out here retweeting one of our people's. Like, let's go, Rach. Good job.
Yeah. Rachel has a Geek Girl piece coming out this week. That's a new TV show as well. She actually got to talk with the writer from that, so we're going to be publishing that later this week. So we do a little bit of everything here at IBT, man. We have a lot of fantasy football content coming your way the rest of the summer as well, and still time to get invested with Draft Night Out. If you guys want to come live draft with me, Steve, and the entire IBT gang this summer, make sure you guys get invested with that over there. And we're gonna have our Taysom Hill jersey giveaway here in a couple weeks when Eric's back as well. So guys, thanks so much for all the support. We greatly appreciate it. Kyle, thank you for your help in the back end as well. For Steve, I'm Seth. Have a great rest of your week, y'all. Stay cool out here in the dog days of summer. We'll catch you next time. Stay in between. Thank you.